Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're tackling a topic that, honestly, so many of us think we know all about, but we rarely grasp its full, magnificent scope. When most people hear yoga right away, they picture a trendy studio, some ridiculously expensive stretchy pants, and, trying to touch their toes in a room heated to 105 degrees. But the truth is, what we're looking at today goes way beyond just breaking a sweat. We're going to unpack yoga as this profound scientific and spiritual journey. It's a systematic discipline from ancient India meant to completely harmonize your mind, body, and emotions. By the time we wrap up, I promise you're going to see this ancient practice in a totally new, incredibly practical light.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. We're going to hit 5 key stops. First, the true meaning of yoga. Second, Ashtanga, or the 8 limbs. Third, asanas, preparing the body. Fourth, pranayama, mastering the breath. And finally, yoga as medicine.
All right, kicking things off with part 1, the true meaning of yoga.
So I really want to start by challenging some of those preconceived notions about what yoga actually is. Because if it's not just stretching, what's the ultimate goal here? Well, the word yoga actually comes from the ancient Sanskrit root word yuj, which translates beautifully and simply to unite. Throughout our time today, I want you to keep the image of a bridge in your mind, because fundamentally, that's what yoga is. It's a bridge. It's designed to be this ultimate connector between your individual self and universal consciousness. It's literally a journey of the self, through the self, to the self. So instead of just, working out your hamstrings, true yoga is about building a bridge that unites and harmonizes your mind, your physical body, and your emotions to reach a state of complete, holistic well-being.
Moving right along to Section 2, Ashtanga, the 8 limbs. To understand exactly how we build that bridge, we've got to look at the foundational philosophy laid out by sage Patanjali in the classic text, the Yoga Sutras. According to Patanjali, the ultimate aim of all this is to calm what he called chitta vritti. Basically, that translates to the fluctuations of the mind. Think of it as clearing out that stubborn mental fog so you can actually achieve a state of pure consciousness. Now, Ashtanga literally translates to 8 limbs. Ashta meaning 8, anga meaning limb. And here's the crazy part. Those physical postures we all associate with yoga, they're actually just one single limb out of the 8. The actual path to clearing that mental fog requires this massive, comprehensive system involving ethics, self-discipline, breathwork, and some profoundly deep states of mental focus.
Let's quickly break down those first 2 limbs, which are really the foundational behavioral codes. First up, we have yama, or social ethics. This is all about how we interact with the world. It includes ahimsa. Now, while ahimsa technically translates to non-violence, in everyday practical terms it means being deeply kind to everyone and, this is absolutely crucial, being kind to yourself in thought, word, and deed. Yama also includes satya, living truthfully, asteya, which is non-stealing, and get this, that even means not stealing someone's time by showing up late. Then there's brahmacharya, focusing your energy on things that actually matter instead of wasting it on a million distractions, and aparigraha, or non-possessiveness. Then we hit the second limb, niyama. This is personal observance, how we treat ourselves behind closed doors. We're talking saucha, maintaining physical and mental purity, santosha, finding real contentment with what you have, tapas, which is self-discipline, swajaya, self-study, and ishwara pranadhana, surrendering to a higher energy. So you can see, these aren't just abstract lofty rules, they're the absolute bedrock you have to build before you even think about stepping onto a yoga mat.
Which brings us to Section 3, asanas, preparing the body.
So now we shift gears to that third limb. And this is the one you're probably most familiar with, the physical postures or asanas. But we really need to recontextualize what their actual purpose is within the whole yogic system. In the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali drops this famous phrase to describe the physical practice, sthira sukham asanam. It simply means the posture should be steady, which is sthira, and comfortable, sukham. The true historical point of all these elaborate physical bends and twists wasn't to get a crazy workout or, sculpt the perfect beach body, not at all. The purpose was strictly to prepare your physical body so it could sit steady, pain-free, and totally comfortable for long, uninterrupted hours of deep meditation. Kind of shifts your perspective, right?
Let's take a look at how this physical prep actually starts, using Tadasana, or the mountain pose. It looks super simple, right? Just standing there. But it's actually a highly active posture. And before you even strike a pose like this, true yoga demands some serious environmental prep. You're supposed to practice in a clean, quiet room, totally free from noise and distractions. You definitely want to avoid overeating or having intense social chats right beforehand. You step into this grounded, steady mountain pose, starting your practice with a deeply positive attitude, courage, patience, and a whole lot of determination.
Now contrast that very active mountain pose with Savasana, or the corpse pose. This is the one everybody loves at the end of a physical practice. And it brilliantly shows off how asanas act as that bridge we talked about. You go from the intense physical exertion of bending, stretching, and balancing directly into absolute profound physical rest. This stark contrast is what teaches your nervous system how to transition from stress to total mental stillness. It literally preps the body for the intense internal focus that's about to follow.
All right, Section 4, Pranayama, Mastering the Breath.
Once your body is fully prepped, we move inward to the fourth limb. Prana literally means vital life force, and ayama means expansion or control. So pranayama is definitely not just taking a few deep sighs. It's a highly systematic modulation of the breath that scientifically flushes toxins out of your body and massively spikes your energy levels. Every single specific breathing practice in yoga fundamentally relies on 3 systematic steps. Step 1 is paraka, the controlled inhalation. Step 2 is kumbhaka, the deliberate retention or holding of the breath. And step 3 is rachaka, the intentional exhalation. By mastering these 3 specific parts, you aren't just chilling out your heart rate. The ancient traditional goal is to actively sweep away that mental fog, that chitta vritti, so you can lock into a profound sense of inner peace. And one of the most incredible ways to apply those 3 steps is through anulom vilom, or alternate nostril breathing. Here's how it works. You inhale through the left nostril, hold the breath, and then exhale through the right. Then, you just reverse the whole process. It's a highly targeted, almost surgical technique designed to perfectly balance the left and right hemispheres of your brain, which creates this amazing, profound equilibrium across your entire nervous system. Once that breath is locked in and controlled, you bridge into the higher mental limbs of the practice, and there's a subtle but absolutely crucial difference here between the 6th and 7th limbs, dharana and dhyana. Dharana is concentration. It's the active, conscious effort of tying your mind to one single point, maybe a candle flame or just the sensation of your breath. Dhyana, on the other hand, is true meditation. It's this beautiful, uninterrupted flow of concentration where all that effort just completely drops away. So dharana requires work. Dhyana is just a state of being, which eventually leads you right to samadhi, the ultimate liberation and total oneness with the universe.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Yoga as Medicine.
Now that we really get the deep science and the spiritual journey of these 8 limbs, let's look at the incredibly practical, data-driven application of these ancient techniques for modern chronic health conditions. Because the crucial takeaway here is that different bodies and different ailments need entirely different yogic prescriptions. It's not one size fits all. For example, if you're dealing with chronic back pain, you absolutely should engage in general asanas, but you need to strictly avoid forward-bending poses. If you have respiratory issues like asthma, breathwork like anulom vilom and ujjayi are highly recommended. For obesity, dynamic cardiovascular sequences, think sun salutations or the boat pose, are fantastic. But look at type 2 diabetes for a second. While breathing exercises like Kapalbhati are great, patients are actually advised to avoid poses that spike bodily pressure, like headstands or the wheel pose. So you see, it's a highly customized, genuinely medicinal approach to movement.
But, of course, you really can't engage in yoga as medicine if you don't have the right fuel in the tank. A full 60-minute practice requires proper nutrition, which is known as the yogic diet, or mikahara. The science of yoga actually breaks all food down into 3 distinct types, specifically based on how they impact your mental state. First, you have sattvic, or pure foods. We're talking fresh fruits, grains, nuts, stuff that actively promotes mental clarity, peace, and baseline health. Then you've got rajasic foods. These are your spicy foods, onions, caffeine. These are highly stimulating and, according to the tradition, they actually cause physical and mental restlessness. And finally, tamasic foods. These are the dulling ones, processed foods, deep-fried meals, heavy meats, and alcohol. These cause lethargy and literally cloud the mind, dragging back all that mental fog we just worked so hard to clear out.
And hey, it's not just about what you're eating, it's also about how much. To completely optimize digestion and energy, a yogi follows this surprisingly strict but brilliant rule for portioning their stomach during a meal. The rule is strictly divided like this. You fill exactly 50% of your stomach with solid food, you fill 25% with water, and then you deliberately leave the last 25% totally empty for the flow of air. It's an incredibly disciplined way of making sure the body never gets bogged down or sluggish, keeping that vital bridge between your physical energy and your mental clarity perfectly clear and open.
So we've traveled from the ancient Sanskrit root of the word all the way down to exactly how much water you should be drinking with your meals. You've got the full picture now. Yoga is definitely not just a quick workout, it's this massive, comprehensive 8-limbed bridge spanning ethics, physical readiness, breath mastery, and profound mental focus. So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Now that you've seen the whole iceberg, how will you use the 8-limbed bridge of yoga to unite your own physical health and mental clarity today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this completely changes how you step onto the mat from here on out.